buffalo chicken bird dogs. Bird dogs, these are smoked chicken tenders dunked in homemade buffalo sauce and paired with a tangy blue cheese slaw. Let me tell you, this is the ultimate grilled chicken sandwich. Well, smoked chicken. You could grill it too. I'm gonna walk you through the buffalo sauce, the homemade slaw, and smoking the chicken. Go watch the recipe, I'm gonna dig in. Since we have a few components going on, let's go ahead and get the chicken marinated first. If I can get my glove on, there we go. We're gonna start with 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. This is 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Got 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. You can use regular if you need to. And then I've got 2 teaspoons of black pepper. For the acid, you can either use a lemon, but I'm gonna go ahead and actually use some pickle juice. Really, you just wanna make sure that you've got some acid in here to kind of balance everything out. I'm gonna add some oil in a second. So this is just 2 teaspoons of pickle brine. I'm sorry, tablespoons of pickle brine. Then I've got, last but not least, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And you can use any kind of oil that you want. I actually like the flavor of olive oil with chicken. So mix this up really well so all the spices really get in there. And you could do this in a Ziploc bag if you want to. I'll show you in a second, but I think it's easy for me just because I do have fridge space. I'm gonna just do it in a bowl. Do you love that sound? You can see the spices mix up pretty easily, and I admit they smell really good despite it even being on raw chicken. If you want to go the extra mile, you could do a little bit of lemon zest in here too. That would make it nice, but I'm going to stop here because we got a lot of other flavors coming on. Now, as I mentioned, you could use a resealable bag, mix everything up in here, shake it, and zip it up, put it in the fridge. This works really well too. I just used a bowl because I'm going to cook it in a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and seal this up and get this in the fridge, and we'll let this marinate for at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Just depends how fast I am getting everything else wrapped up, ready to go. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and make the slaw. First thing, I wiped down the cutting board just in case, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this Napa cabbage. It's already a half of a Napa cabbage. I'm gonna cut it into quarters and then dice this up finally for the slaw. And it is easier if you just use a knife rather than like a mandolin or something like that, because this isn't near as thick and crispy as like a traditional cabbage. So, all right, next we're gonna go ahead and grate some carrots. So these are just some organic carrots. You can peel them if you want to. I just didn't. I washed them really well. Just use a box grater. Keep it simple. Don't grate your fingertips. Save that little piece for the dog. Okay, we're gonna need about a cup of celery. And then also, if you happen to have any of these like yellow leaves kind of from the center of the celery stalk, they taste really good too. So I'm gonna use those as well, but I like to cut it at an angle so you get a little bit more of a texture. This is just a really nice element of crunch in the slaw. Or next we've got some green onions or scallions, whatever you wanna call them. Do the same, cut them really fine. If you like chives, those work really well too. I love the smell of fresh green onions. I almost forgot the green leaves on this celery. I'm just gonna go ahead, chop it all, just add it in here. All right, so here we've got the bowl of all the dry ingredients that we'll mix together. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and make the dressing, and then we'll put it together and let it rest. All right, the dressing's pretty much the simplest part. 1/3 of a cup of mayonnaise here, and I've also got some sour cream I'm gonna mix in. Just so you know, this is Duke's mayonnaise, which I prefer. So let's go ahead and add the sour cream. I'm gonna add a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of salt, some pepper. I like a lot of pepper. The juice from 1 whole lemon here. You can always tell you have cuts in your hands when you juice a lemon. Oh man, and my secret ingredient, which is gonna be pistachios. Now this adds a really nice crunch. It actually adds a little bit more saltiness, a little bit of savory flavors in here. So at the bare minimum, I recommend adding like 3 tablespoons in. I like to go a little more than that, and I probably will add more when I garnish at the end, but this is where it gets really good. Now, I did not forget the blue cheese. This is a 4-ounce block, and yes, we will be using pretty much all of it. What I recommend is crumbling up some of it for the dressing, and then we'll put some on like as a topping towards the end too. So if you're not going to put blue cheese in it, I'd recommend maybe putting some Parmesan. I think that that would also be really, really good, but we're going for buffalo, chicken tenders, blue cheese slaw. It just makes sense, people. Come on. Stir this all together. Remember, it's got the pistachios, it's got the lemon, mayo, sour cream. This is some really good blue cheese right here. Kind of want to just eat a bite of that, but I won't. I'll show restraint. All right, we got the veggies here. Let's go ahead, mix this all together. And oh, can't wait to eat this. Forget the carrot sticks and the celery sticks. This is what I want. Carefully mix this together. Should have used a larger bowl. Oh well, I'm gonna make a mess. You'll see as it comes together, it really is enough dressing. At first it feels like it might be just a little thick, but once you start mixing it, it coats everything really, really nicely. I would say undersalted at first, taste test, and then add salt as you need to. I'm gonna have one more bite and I'm gonna let this rest. All right, for the buffalo sauce, you'll wanna get a sauce pot. I have a little bit wider one so that you can see it on camera. And I'm gonna start with 1.25 cups Frank's. This is my preferred hot sauce for making buffalo. And I've got the temperature on low. We really just want to get this to a low simmer. I don't need it to be boiling. We're gonna be adding in some garlic powder and onion powder. That's a 1/2 teaspoon of each. Got a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Then I'm gonna do about a teaspoon or so of Worcestershire. And now you'll probably notice as I start to whisk this that the garlic powder and the onion powder are kind of clumping together a little bit. It's not a big deal right now because you'll see with my secret step that we're gonna be whisking a lot and it's gonna get rid of all of those clumps. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't I add the butter? Well, there's a good reason for that. We wanna get the sauce really warm, we're gonna kill the heat and then mix in the butter. And what this does is it keeps the emulsion of the liquid and fats in the butter, and it makes this sauce super, super creamy, and then it doesn't break and spread and get all oily, so you'll see. All right, the sauce is getting kind of warm. We're starting to see the beginning of a simmer, so what I'm gonna do is turn it down. Don't wanna turn it off, but have it really low. And what we'll do is we'll add a little bit of butter in at a time. Trust me, this is worth the extra steps. Then we'll start to whisk. And our only goal here is just to slowly melt the butter. That way it can stay nice and glossy. So go ahead and whisk this till almost all the butter's gone. And the reason why we do a little bit at the time is because you don't want to drop the temperature of the sauce so much that it doesn't melt the butter either. And it just helps the emulsification a little bit more. All right, I went ahead and killed the heat. You can see the sauce is nice and glossy. I'm just gonna let this cool. It's gonna thicken up a little bit as we let it rest, and we'll go get the chicken ready. I just went ahead and pulled the chicken out, so let's go. I'm gonna set the smoker to 250 degrees, and then once that's preheated, we'll toss these on. Okay, smoker's preheated. I'm gonna go ahead and get these chicken tenders in here, and I'm putting them away from the smokestack. I don't want them to get too hot too fast. We're gonna throw them on the opposite side, get some nice color, and check on these in a little bit. It's been about 45 minutes or so. Ooh. Okay, we're just about 160. And that's really where I want to be, 162, 163 there. Okay, so these are done. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them off. As they rest, they'll finish coming up to temp. Take a look at these though. I mean, they look nice and juicy. They've got some great smoke color, not too much. I mean, it was only about 45 minutes, but let's get them in a sandwich. All right, finally, we've got the chicken. Now I can build the dang sandwich. I'm so hungry and it smells amazing. So I've got the buffalo sauce out, I've got the slaw out, I've toasted the buns. Let's build this thing. All right, so I've got a couple potato rolls that I toasted here. We're gonna put this really juicy buffalo cheese slaw right on the buns. And this is really our sauce too, you know, because you don't really need more of a sauce because we're gonna have that buffalo sauce pouring out. So, and let's grab those tenders. All right, now I'm just gonna go ahead and dip it in the sauce. Might as well, we want this fully coated. That's what I'm talking about right there. Oh my gosh, that looks good. Let's get that on a bun. I know my editor, Zach, is probably pounding the keyboard right now. Sorry, buddy. All right, finally, I get to eat one. One more bar. This one's a messy one for sure. Wow, the beard. It's so amazing because it's got all those textures and just layers of flavor. You've got the obviously super hot buffalo sauce, which I love. You've got the tangy blue cheese. Then you've got those pistachios. They're like the secret weapon. You've got these nice like little crunchy bites of salt and toasted flavor that just comes through. This is like seriously the ultimate chicken sandwich. I could totally crush like 3 of these right now. In fact, I might. But before I do, why don't you guys go like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in, and please let me know if you try this. See you guys next time. Cheers.